This month on The Spark, the theme is mentorship. We'll sit down with an award-winning professional sports organization focused on teaming up mentors, a medical device manufacturer engaged in education, and a nonprofit organization reshaping its neighborhood in South Memphis. Have you ever been excited by a new idea, inspired by watching someone lead by example? When we talk about creating change, we start by sharing the stories of everyday heroes who are making a difference in their own way, so we can learn and do the same. This truth is the power behind this show, which is focused on business and community leaders that are leading by example to give back, fuel change, and create new opportunities for the Mid-South. I'm Jeremy Park, and this is The Spark. Mentorship and education is the theme for this month's show of The Spark. The White House recently recognized this organization as a champion of change for youth development, so I can't think of any more appropriate way to start out the show this month with Marlon Foster. He's the Executive Director for Knowledge Quest, and he's actually Reverend Marlon Foster. Before we even talk about Knowledge Quest, though, you have a very amazing personal story that led you to start this organization. So for the context, share your story.
Wow, I tell folks all the time, the Knowledge Quest story really entwines with a Marlon Foster story. And actually mentioning the White House acknowledgement, which was an awesome honor, there was a little small piece that was connected to the Champion of Change, and it was specifically for those who were working with youth development and trying to prevent youth violence. And that's where my personal story is kind of entwined. My best friend, literally choir boys in the church choir. Played football. He was quarterback. I was wide receiver. When we ran track, I was the first leg of the 440 relay, handed the baton to him. So, I mean, literally my best friend. But when we were 17, I was a senior in high school and just falling victim to the lures and temptations of our neighborhood. I got into a neighborhood fight. A kid had a gun, shot and killed my best friend. So that experience kind of pivoted me with another trajectory on how can I use my life to try to reach other children in the neighborhood so they wouldn't take the route to death and destruction as we had taken.
And I think the interesting thing is that many people could choose to leave their neighborhood, but yet you go off, you get your college degree, you come back to that same neighborhood where you live and work and have your family now, and you become a catalyst for change. So describe Knowledge Quest and the work that you guys do.
Wow, I would say our biggest asset are those human capital relationships right in the neighborhood where, hey, I live, work, and worship, as I often say. But Knowledge Quest, we're about youth development. We're about adventure education. We're about children having an awesome time during those out-of-school time hours. Those were the times where I fell victim to a lot of devilment. And Knowledge Quest takes advantage of those times through relationships with families, with schools, and children come to our centers after school and during other out-of-school times, and we make learning fun. In addition to adventure education, where we just try to grab all the learning concepts and develop hands-on activities if they're studying the solar system at school, we'll make a model solar system at Knowledge Quest. So that's what we're
dance, about. I mean, it's cooking, it's literally everything, which actually we've got a fun little feature we're going to show everybody that actually puts this into some context. So let's quick look before we carry on and show everybody what we're talking about with adventure learning.
Knowledge Quest's mission statement is to vigorously equip youth to maximize their potential through intellectual and character development. So primarily, when students come to Knowledge Quest, we get here, we do a healthy snack with our students, then we go into our homework assistance, and then we do what we call is adventure education. That's the Knowledge Quest niche. What makes learning fun for our students is our adventure education, and then we have our recreation. Recreation is the basketball, we do soccer, we do have cheerleading and other things like that as well. We have 3 programs. We have our School Age Academy, our Teenage Academy, and our Greenleaf Learning Farm. Our School Age Academy is our kindergarten through 5th grade students, and then our Teenage Academy serves our 6th through 12th grade students. The Greenleaf Learning Farm is directly across the street, and a component of the Greenleaf Farm is they just do cooking classes. At all of our programs, we get a chance to put our kids out there and let them show their talents and gifts and things that they've been working on, or if they want to sing or perform. But then we're taking them outside of our neighborhoods and exposing them and find what they're interested in, and then let's help them build on that. It's amazing, honestly.
So we just saw a little bit about the adventure learning that Marlon's talking about when it comes to the after-school programs with Knowledge Quest. One of the things that really strikes me, though, is really how you get the family, the nuclear family, engaged. And I think that's one of these things that makes you very different is your expectations. You expect the parents to volunteer, to be engaged with their children. Share a little about that dynamic.
Well, parents are assets. That's part of the human capital that we all have. So our parents have to volunteer their time. So we say in lieu of payment, if you're experiencing financial distress, hey, you still have time, you still have talents to contribute. So our parents contribute 5 hours per quarter. They can get those hours in a couple of ways. One, we serve fresh fruit and vegetables every day. They can bring apples for all the students in their class. We have a uniform exchange. They can participate there and gain an hour. If they have to do anything at their child's school, from parent meeting to school play, they get an hour. But it's going to get down to 2 or 3 hours per month that you have to spend at our campus working with your child, working with other children that your child is surrounded by.
And the thing to take it a step further is you do this in the community, so you really do a very good job at figuring out what assets you have available and leveraging those for the greater good. Talk about what you guys are doing and building those relationships not only with the after-school programs and the youth and the parents, but actually with the whole neighborhood and community, churches, organizations, businesses, all the above, to get them engaged.
Yes, we gather all of our stakeholders around youth development. If you love children, if you're concerned about the youth in our neighborhood, let's all come together in that regard. So even when it comes to Knowledge Quest and all the things that we do, not only our direct service to youth, but all of our back office stuff, we're going to tap resources in the neighborhood. So if that means when I'm having lunch and to go up to Four-Way, if we need light carpentry done in our center, that's a neighborhood firm. There's a neighborhood firm that washes, that does all of our yard work. There are a couple of guys that wash the buses. But the point is that whatever we have an opportunity to leverage community assets, we want to do so.
Now, explain where you guys are headed. I think this is exciting to me when you look at the network you're building and the growth and the capacity building. 500 youth right now, but you have a lot ahead. Talk about the Kids Zone and some of those next steps.
Knowledge Quest Kids Zone. This is our latest growth strategy, and it's all about concentrating our presence in a defined geography. So we're going to have 3 sites, all on Walker Avenue, serving students from pre-K through 12th grade on this continuum. And we want to follow those students. We want to be able to say, hey, we have students that have been in our program, they're part of this pipeline. For a child in the neighborhood, they can start from pre-K and actually go through college to a career right on Walker Avenue. So we want to tap into that and really leverage that awesome asset we have in our neighborhood by doing our awesome programs with a set group of students every day and following them all the way through.
And what's something you've learned? Give me one little tip or kind of favorite saying, if you will, that you think really sums up what you're doing and what motivates you.
I would say love and respect. That's the thing that really gets us through. It's those 2 items. I think it's that respect for others, this seeing the dignity in others, this asset-based approach to the way we view our community. That's the kind of stuff that's allows us to be an asset, even ourselves, and to be seen as an organization that's walking alongside the community. We don't want to do 2 or 4, but we really want to come alongside and do with.
Well, absolutely love what you guys are doing, and thank you very much for coming on the show. Marlon Foster, Executive Director with Knowledge Quest. When we talk about mentorship and education, I think one of the things that flies under the radar is the private sector, the involvement of the large corporations, small corporations, mid-sized corporations. And I think part of the fun today is having that sort of conversation. We have Dave Carlson in here with Smith & Nephew. And for the context of this, let's start out. Give the viewers a little snapshot about Smith & Nephew.
Well, sure. Smith & Nephew is a global medical device company. We have about 10,000 employees around the world. And in Memphis, we have 1,800 employees. We're actually the largest manufacturing company in Memphis, Tennessee. Right. We manufacture hip replacements, knee replacements, and trauma products.
Go into a little detail, because I think that part of the fun of this is, they might have heard of Smith & Nephew, especially with lifestyles and getting back into sports and for the knee and hip replacements and things along those lines, or the replacement pieces, but give us a little bit of an idea of exactly what that means.
Well, in fact, as I mentioned, we make knee replacements essentially, total knees and total hips. And for a person that might be 50 years old and has been active all their lives and perhaps their knees are starting to really hurt, we provide the opportunity to work with surgeons to help people regain their lives.
So taking that next step, you guys, you mentioned global, you do a lot of mission work outside of Memphis. Describe some of the mission work that you guys do and really how you're able to kind of help other countries, especially the third world countries, kind of get a little bit of a foothold on medical devices and taking that next step.
Well, we've operated for many years with a group called Operation Walk in both Ecuador and Guatemala. We will work with surgeons that volunteer their time. We'll provide products and we'll go to those countries and perform surgeries to those indigent patients who don't have the means to be able to have those surgeries done. And in many cases, it's life-changing for those patients. We've been involved with the Haiti disaster, had the opportunity to provide trauma products for the Haiti earthquake several years ago. And it's something that we always are looking for to see what can we do from a grants and donations standpoint.
One of the things that you guys are heavily involved with is education, mentorship here in the Mid-South, which is obviously the key focus today. One thing in particular is Junior Achievement, the JA BizTown. And it's one of my favorites, by far, because you get to make bio slime. But talk about that relationship and what it instills for the students and why you guys are involved.
Well, JA BizTown has been around for several years and we've been a major sponsor there. We have a Smith & Nephew lab there. And actually we had some of our engineers design a product, basically you mix together certain magical potions and you come up with orange bio slime, and it's kind of like silly putty but a little messier. Then it's something the kids actually purchase. So we love the concept of BizTown, where the students go in, they're young students, and they essentially have a town in which they can go, they have a bank, they can checks, they can elect a mayor, they can visit and purchase products at grocery stores and in the Smith & Nephew lab. And it's just part of our focus on youth in the Memphis area.
So using that as a launch pad focused on youth, let's take a quick look at how you guys are involved in youth and education and mentorship.
JA BizTown is all about teaching kids about business, economics, making them more financially literate. We teach kids about how a business and a community works in unison. The kids actually run their own business, they run their own government, they pay their own taxes, got 15 different businesses. It's a 5-hour simulation that they've been preparing for the last 5 weeks. And it's an experience that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. For a large group of our kids who come into this program, they have no banking relationship within their household. And that's a large percentage of them, and it's relatively sad. But in this experience, for the first time in many of their lives, they're being introduced to banking. The other important aspect of the program, I think, is teaching kids about municipalities, how they work, why they work, and what role you play into making them successful. They've got a goal in mind in this 5 hours, and that is to sell enough goods and or services to pay off their business loan by the end of the day. I've been working with Smith & Nephew and their partnership for the entire time that I've been here. But just having Smith & Nephew and their entire team to come in to put this shop together, they did it as a team. They came in here and put the manpower into it themselves so they could best represent what they stand for in this community. And I don't know what we do without them. We love having them here, and I know our kids love having them here.
Continue on the thread of youth engagement, mentorship, and education. Talk about the Scholars Program, because I think this is a very unique opportunity where you guys are hands-on engaged.
I'd be happy to. The Smith & Nephew Scholars Program was started back in 2011. We partner with 3 charter schools here in Memphis. We have engineers and research and development and marketing professionals for Smith & Nephew, and we sit down twice a week or twice a month with our students at the schools and spend about an hour and a half with them, talking to them about what they're doing, talking about possibilities. Then during the summer, we have a Scholars Week, basically, and all of these students come to Smith & Nephew at our headquarters and spend an entire week understanding what orthopedics is all about. They hear from orthopedic surgeons, they hear from engineers, research individuals, marketing professionals. Essentially, it opens up possibilities to them that they might normally not see.
And I know one of the things that we talk about all the time is that famous quote of "you can't be what you can't see." Is, you know, a big part of mentorship is exposing them to new opportunities, showing them that there's a lot of different careers out there, there's a lot of different ways to make your mark, and being able to expose them to that, especially at a young age, makes a huge difference.
It really does. I mean, I'm a mentor, and my mentee is 13 years old. He wants to be a professional football player, but he also knows how important education is. And he really takes to heart the things that we're sharing in our time together, and really enjoys, you know, seeing what Smith & Nephew is all about.
So really the last question then is, share with us the philosophy. Why is community engagement so important? Your team is heavily engaged. They serve on boards. They're out volunteering their time with things like a Samaritan's Feet. I mean, they're literally giving back, but share with us the philosophy overall.
Employee engagement in the community is really important to us. We want to be involved where we operate and live. That is where our employees are working. We care a lot about our communities because it makes for a better workforce as well. And making our community is an important part of everything we do.
Well, Dave Carlson, Smith & Nephew, greatly appreciate everything you guys do, not only on the business front, but on the community front as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone loves our NBA home team, the Memphis Grizzlies, but you probably have no idea how much of a philanthropic effort they have with the Memphis Grizzlies Foundation. So we're here with the Executive Director, Jenny Colton, now. Give us a little bit of the snapshot of the Grizzlies Foundation and the work that you guys are doing here in the community.
The Grizzlies Foundation has really been committed to serving youth through education and mentoring for many years. Early on, we distinguished ourselves by our annual giving, and to date we've contributed over $30 million to youth-serving organizations in the Memphis area. But in 2007, we launched the Grizzlies Team Up Youth Mentoring Initiative in an effort not only to engage new people as volunteer mentors, but also to raise the quality of youth mentoring programs and to increase the number of youth mentoring programs throughout Greater Memphis. We've been able to engage so many more individuals and organizations over the last 5 years, and I'm really proud of how much progress has been made.
And the way that I look at it is you guys serve as a little bit of an umbrella, a capture ground for all those that are interested in being mentors, and you work with all the different nonprofits that revolve around mentorship, and you really pair them up with what interests them, their time commitments, what they're interested in terms of their passion. Describe a little bit more of kind of the matchmaking and the overall kind of resource that you provide both to mentors and to the nonprofits and really to the proteges as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, for starters, we host an organization called the Grizzlies Mentoring Alliance. And this is a network of over 30 organizations all in the Memphis area where we offer them training, technical assistance, and really create a network so that they're supporting one another and able to run really effective programs, helping their volunteers, helping the kids.
Right.
And then in addition to that, we want to take the guesswork out of finding a fitting mentoring program for prospective volunteers. So on our website, we have just a basic sign-up form, but from that, we can identify when prospective volunteers are available and what they're interested in doing. And we work with our network, these other Grizzlies Mentoring Alliance groups, in order to help them find an organization that really will be a good fit for them, and the rest takes care of itself.
So before we talk about the model itself, let's take a quick look at this in action in terms of the mentors, the proteges, and everything they're doing with the Memphis Grizzlies Foundation.
People are used to one-on-one mentoring, but we thought that in order for us to kind of broaden our scope and reach more kids, we were going to have to think of something different and more creative. So we paired 3 mentors with 9 kids. This is the first year at Soulsville Charter School, and it's going fantastic. This is an after-school program where we just consistently recruit mentors from outside of the school to share their experiences with young people. We partner with Facing History and ourselves to do the curriculum for the program. I think what we were thinking about as an organization, talking about the Grizzlies organization, was, you know, how can we do something outside of basketball that's tangible in our community, and how we think that's an extension of education, and how important it is for our community to share their rich experiences with young people. This is a new component of of the mentoring piece, and we think that the Grizzlies mentoring program will help you get a good understanding of how critical it is for our community, whether white, black, to share their experiences with young people. And I think you'll get a lot out of it because we have some great kids in the program.
We just saw a little bit of the mentorship in action with the Memphis Grizzlies Foundation. One of the things that I think, very prestigious award, the 2012 Beyond Sport Award. Describe that award, but also too, why that's so impressive for the Mid-South and what you guys are doing.
Well, we're thrilled to win the Sport Team of the Year award from Beyond Sport this summer. Ceremony was in London a couple days leading up to the Olympics. What it really stands for is a recognition of how the Grizzlies approach philanthropy and community outreach. We don't measure success on photo ops and, and press. We look at how we can change lives, how we can really be part of making this community stronger. Right. And we've taken a sort of inch wide, mile deep approach for many years, where we're not spreading ourselves over all sorts of different things, being all things to all people, but we really zero in on how can we improve kids' lives. And I think that that ability that we have to harness the interest, harness the engagement of our fans, and then channel that into really participating in the community is something that is unique, but is also something, a place for us to continue to grow and to include many more people so that many more kids can benefit.
And typically when you talk about mentorship, it's 1-to-1 ratio, but you guys are really changing that model. You're going toward more of a cluster model, and I think it's amazing when you look at the sharing that can take place. Describe that cluster model and what you guys are doing there.
After many years of recruiting mentors, we realized many of them want to mentor with a partner, mentor with a friend. And at the same time, we realized we just can't one-on-one our way into enough kids' lives to be successful. In 2011, we launched Grizzlies Team Mentoring with this new program that we've created and now continue to administer. We matched 3 mentors with 9 students. And while the program started with 15 mentors and 45 kids 2 years ago. Now we're in 4 charter schools with 162 participants and about 54 mentors. Nice. So it's really grown, and I think among the many benefits is that kids start to create very special relationships with their peers. And so, and in a very safe and nurturing environment where they can learn not just from one mentor, but from 3, and those relationships can really continue for a lifetime.
Now talk about one of the newest developments, Grizzlies Prep.
Mm-hmm. So Grizzlies Prep is our new charter school. It opened in July of 2012. We currently have 70 6th grade boys. It's an all-male college prep school. But the exciting thing is that we're now enrolling for the 2013-2014 school year. So I would really encourage everyone to get the word out, because there is this phenomenal institution right in the middle of downtown Memphis, serving boys and really helping them get ready for college and for life.
Well, I know one of the big campaigns going on right now is 100 Mentors in 50 days, so I definitely encourage everyone to get involved, go through the Grizzlies Foundation, the great network and the support that they provide, and very impressive. One of the things that we do every year is we team up with Samaritan's Feet and the Grizzlies Foundation to do a day of service, an MLK Day of Service. And we recently had Manny Ahome, the founder of Samaritan's Feet, in town. We had hundreds of volunteers come out, wash the feet of over 200 kids here, giving them new socks and shoes. And we wanted to show you a little bit of the heart and soul of what's going on here in the Mid-South tied with that day. So let's take a quick look at that, and then we'll be back later on to close the show.
Two years ago, I volunteered to be a foot washer for Samaritan's Feet, and I never will forget there was a refugee, young lady who came in, and there were 2 inches of snow on the ground that day, and she came in sandals. And I sat down and we washed her feet, and they brought her shoes. And I never will forget how excited she was when we opened the box, and she jumped up out of the chair and she grabbed me around the neck and she said, "Thank you so much for my shoes."
Well, Samaritan's Feet is a global humanitarian organization with a vision to help put shoes in the feet of 10 million children all over the world. For many people that's probably looking at this wonder, why in the world are people washing people's feet and why are they putting shoes on them? But the reality is this morning, over 300 million kids woke up in Africa alone and have a pair of shoes on their feet. Close to over 1 billion people in our world will never be able to afford a pair of shoes. And in our country, parents have to make decisions. Do I pay the light bill or do I buy food? in order for my kids to be able to go to school and provide shoes. So what Samaritan's Feet doing is bigger than just providing shoes. It's an opportunity to inspire, hope, and tell these kids they can dream big dreams. So I'm excited to be able to come back to Memphis year in, year in, year out, to be able to partner with the great people of Memphis, to be able to inspire these young people and tell them that they're not forgotten, that God still have a great plan for their life.
One of the great things about today is not only do the kids get a new pair of shoes, but you get to spend time with them coloring. You're in the bouncy house with them. You show them how to shoot basketball. And so just a little bit of time with them showing that somebody loves them makes all the difference in the world.
So that to me speaks volumes, to tell the world that Memphis just ain't about just the businesses, but it's about philanthropic people that care about the needy of their community. That if we come together, we can all inspire them to be able to do great things.
Whether it's with our children or our careers, the importance of mentorship is critical. We all play a role in mentoring our youth and future leaders in our community. Thank you for watching The Spark. To learn more about each of the guests and to interact with your stories of others leading by example, visit thesparktv.org. We look forward to seeing you next month and hope that you will join with us in creating a spark for the Mid-South.